Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just finished breaking down the Western Conference Finals matchup between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars that's going to be starting up in just a couple days. I had the Stars taking that series in 6. In this segment here, segment 3, we are going to talk a little bit about the Eastern Conference Finals, that between the Rangers and the Panthers. We're going to do a breakdown, give an official Sports by GSMC Podcast Network prediction, so stick around for that. But before we get into it, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message will pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you have a burning question about sports, anything at all you would like me to ask, or like to ask me, all you need to do is go to that link, gsmcpodcast.net, or leave a comment, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to talk some sports with me on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. But like I was saying, we are going to get right into it, talking a little bit about the Eastern Conference Finals. We have made it. The last prediction for the hockey segment here, the Eastern Conference Finals this year is taking place between the New York Rangers coming out against the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers, the defending champions of the East, going up against the Rangers, who had a bit of a down season last year, but they are back. This is a battle of two teams that, you take a look at the stats and you take a look at these teams on paper, are incredibly similar, right? You have a great goaltender, Igor Shesterkin, Sergei Bobrovsky. Sergei Bobrovsky, who, is coming off, this is his second straight deep playoff run where he's taking this team deep into the playoffs. And Igor Shesterkin, who had a year off last year, but this is also his second deep playoff run. Bobrovsky has had more in the past, but Shesterkin is a little younger, and he has carried this team defensively. The excuse me, defensively, the Rangers are a little better, but offensively, the Panthers are a little better. So you have a team that they both have great goalies, but this is going to be a battle between who's better between the offense and the defense, right? You have a great defensive core in New York and a great offensive core in Florida. You take a look at some of the numbers here. Excuse me. This is the first game that we're going to see. They're going to start off on Wednesday, but goaltending wise, the Florida Panthers have a slight edge. It's not a huge edge, but it is a little bit of one. And these two teams are very similar offensively. The Florida Panthers are scoring more goals per game. They have a slightly, and really where we're going to see the difference here is penalty minutes. We talked a little bit about it when we talked about the Oilers and their lack of discipline in the penalty box, but the Florida Panthers have not been very disciplined, regardless of the big penalty splash that happened in that Game 2 against the Boston Bruins. They have not had a very good, have not been very disciplined. And you're going against a team that has the third best power play in the playoffs, the second best that's still remaining, only behind the Edmonton Oilers. And that's really been the Rangers' bread and butter. Against the Capitals, they feasted on the power play, and their penalty kill was great as well. Their ability to kill the penalty has been huge, but their power play, their special teams, has been what's really propelled them this far into the playoffs. Now, they had that little stretch where it looked like they weren't going to be able to close out the series against a really solid Carolina Hurricanes team. But at the end of the day, the Hurricanes took too many penalties, and they gave the Rangers too many opportunities to continue to have their way in that series. They gave up that third period run where Chris Kreider scored 3 goals, had a hat trick in just the third period, that propelled them past the Carolina Hurricanes. The Panthers, on the other side of the bracket here, they took care of business. in both of these series. Against the Lightning, they never really felt like they were in any danger. They lost game one against the Bruins and then came back with a statement 6-1 win in game two and never really looked back. The Panthers have had maybe the smoothest run out of any team still remaining to the conference finals. They haven't really had a hiccup along the way. The Bruins gave them a little bit of a bump, but it was just one game, and they kind of took care of business after that. The Bruins had their backs against the walls. This is going to be a very physical series. East Coast hockey is incredibly physical. We've watched, again, I keep bringing up this brawl, the fight between the Bruins and the Panthers. You look at that what resulted in that was an incredibly physical series. And then the Rangers are so physical in their own right. If you remember back against the Hurricanes, Jacob Trouba, well, their defenseman, literally went horizontal to check somebody, and he ended up crashing into the glass, looking like a Looney Tunes character. Literally went boing against the glass. But these teams are both incredibly physical. So this is going to be a battle. There's going to be huge hits. It's going to be a battle of attrition, and it's just going to be whoever can be the most disciplined. Because both of these teams are cup contenders in their own rights. Both of these teams have the ability to win the cup. It's just going to be, and both of these teams have cup-worthy goalies. Both of them have cup-worthy offenses and cup-worthy defenses. These are both contending teams in all senses of the word. But the X factor in this series, as it always will be when we are talking about teams with such great power plays and such great penalty kills, is the special teams, is the ability to stay out of the penalty box. And the Florida Panthers have really struggled with that all playoffs long. They've been taking way too many penalties, and sure, they've been able to get past. They've been doing, really honestly, a great job, getting past these penalties. You look at their penalty kill percentage, they're killing 86% of the penalties, which is insane. 86% puts them third, which is behind the Rangers, who are killing 89% of the penalties. But these two teams both take too many penalties. They both take more penalties than you want them to. But overall, I'm taking the Rangers. This is going to be a tight series. It really is. I'm taking the Rangers in 7. I think that the Florida Panthers just aren't going to be able to match up physically to the Rangers. And while the Panthers are very physical, right, then they've played a lot of physical series, the Rangers, that's how they've been winning these games. They've come out the gate firing in both of these series. They went up they swept the first series against the Capitals. The Capitals never were able to adjust to the physicality, and the Carolina Hurricanes lost the first 3 games of that series before they were able to adjust to that physicality. It's going to be interesting to see how the Panthers are able to deal with that physicality. So we'll have to see. Panthers have the better offense, but the physicality is really, really going to hurt, and the effectiveness on the power play is much better on the Rangers side. We're talking 31% of the time to 22% of the time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm taking the Rangers in 7 in this series. Let me know what you think of this series or anything else happening in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We are going to move out of hockey, though, in our 4th segment and talk a little bit about the possible NCAA settlement in the House versus NCAA case. So stick around for that. We're going to cover all of the fallout from that coming up next on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.